Okay, so we were interrupted there.
Yeah,
We were
we're
talking
getting
the black cat,
black cat,
35 cents, and the
cork tips. They weren't filters, they were cork tips, so that when you were smoking them, the tissue paper didn't fall onto your tongue, and then you got a mouthful of tobacco. So they had a cork tip on the end, and it was cork colored, right? Then you could put that in your mouth and just leave her there, and the cigarette wouldn't deteriorate. So we had to make sure we got cork tips. Then my mother had a cigarette holder, so they're like Bridget Bardot.
really.
Oh, yeah. And then she had pipe cleaners to keep it clean, right? We has to wash the house once a year from all the yellow nicotine.
Did your dad smoke too?
No. He only smoked for practical purposes. So if you went fishing, you took the pipe with you to keep the mosquitoes off.
Oh, okay.
That was it. But he conceded that was good. That was like mosquito repellent in my father's
But
day.
your mother smoked.
My mother was a professional smoker, yeah.
Wow.
She smoked maybe a pack a day, pack and a half at the most, right? But everybody smoked. It was unusual not to smoke,
Yeah.
right? We have all our smoking stories, of course, from our day.
So you used to go to get cigarettes.
At the drugstore, the same
That was-
place we got the tubes for the television. It was not that far a walk to go down there, right?
Yeah. How long did it take?
10 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
Yeah, a couple blocks, right?
So
There was Al's store, and Al's store is one of those real old-fashioned stores, and Al was a short little runt of a guy, ugly as sin, and he ran a little tiny corner store, right? But he stayed in business because he had accounts, and he was across from the Maritime Apartments, which was for the apartments for all the Navy personnel. So the wives would go there and go shopping, and of course paychecks in the military weren't all that streamlined. So he would have an account running for them, and his prices weren't the cheapest, but he had an account.
yeah.
And my mother didn't believe in any account, never mind. And prices high, are you kidding? No way, boy. She was a professional shopper.
Yeah.
But many times you could go. And we would go to Al's when we went to primary school, and then we'd buy pop on the way home once in a while, right? Once a week, 10 cents for a pop, nickel probably, 2 cents for the bottle. We'd buy them at Al's just because he was so persnickety. That was one of those water-cooled jobs where you had to put the dime in, and then run the thing down this whole maze inside the water-cooled machine and then bring it up at the end of it, right? So that was worth it, the entertainment itself. But when the drugstore one opened up, that was deluxe. They had all the goo-goo babies, all that kind of stuff, right? We won't mention what they call the other one, the black ones.
I don't recall what they called those nigger babies.
Yeah, that's right, Ted. That's not very political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This store that was so it was there for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. And but to get there, you used to shortcut through somebody's yard or a vacant lot. Then they damn them if they didn't build a house on the lot, and the guy put a fence up, right? We cursed them.
Yeah.
So now it's so then it was a long walk around, right?
Yeah.
To get to Al's store. But the other one was at the end of the street by Sobeys, right? We have stories about Sobeys too, but that'll probably be for another day.
Sobeys.
Yeah, Sobeys was a chain of stores.
Yeah, they're still
going to the Maritimes, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the street, where they finally opened it up at the end, and they put a little commercial block in, and there was an apartment building there. And I can't remember the fellow's name, but his dad had one of those beautiful DeSotos with the roof rack on it, and 4 doors, right, with all the teeth and the grill. God, it was a beautiful car. And he had a little steam engine in his house.
Roughly what year is that, DeSoto?
DeSoto, 52, 53.
52.
Those classic ones that were underpowered but overwhelmingly beautiful cars, right?
Wow.
And you could wear a hat when you drove them. And they had the roof rack on it like you would for the airport taxis. They came with, that was an option.
Yeah.
On Happy Days, they had one on Happy Days, right? The same car. And that was an impressive car. Even when you were 6 or 7, you knew that was a special car. And I'd been 9 or 10 at that time, right?
Wow.
But that was a neat car. Well, in that square, and the have-not people lived in apartments, right? My mom scrutinized those. If our friends lived in apartments, they had to get through my mother first. She interviewed them. Make sure they were worthy. Does your father at work? And what does he do? And is your mother at home? And if they passed the test, okay. Then we were allowed to be friends with them. But she watched it closely. Right? Those were the have-not people, Ted. You had to watch them, boy. The Albert Lake boys, they could bleed into there. So we had a friend, and I had to be 10, 12 years old. His name was Wilson Medicine. And Wilson was the devil. And Wilson had, what was it called? Saltpeter. And he was the scientist, geek, chemist kid. And if you take saltpeter, we wandered the graveyards, right? We had a dark side. And in all the graveyards, they had these little planters. And you would have fresh flowers, and they come in this little torpedo tube. And then they push all the flowers in, and they punch that, and that'd be in front of the gravestone. And people would mark them. And then when the flowers died, you'd have all these little torpedoes were all left over. And they were about this long, and they were all green, and they came to a nice little tip. So Wilson Method figured out, okay, so you empty that out, you take the top off, and you would fill it with saltpeter, then you put it back, right? And you put a little fuse thing on it, and you'd light them. And then they would go, and they would make a huge amount of smoke and stink like crazy. So one night, Wilson decided that it was time to test this out on Sobeys. And Sobeys had a big fan at the back of the store. And Wilson got 5 or 6 of them, right? And he lit them all up, and the fan had stopped that day. And that was Wilson's good luck. And then he threw them all in through there, and of course the whole store, it didn't go on fire, but it just stunk of saltpeter, and 5 or 6 of them, it filled the whole store up with the fog. And then we ran like hell out of there, and the police came later on, and they were interviewing everybody, right?
Oh, the police came.
Well, we never got caught, but my mother knew. Oh, my mother knew something was up, right? So
she probably smelled it on you.
Yeah, who knows, right? It's
yeah, well, if it made
anywhere.
that kind of smoke.
But that was it. Wilson Method, he was on the hit list. No, you can't be there. You can't see him. No, it's it. The friendship's over. No, he's leading you astray. That was the end of the story. You were done. That was the end of it, right? And they had another guy whose name was Alden McLean, and Alden lived just at the foot of Cherry Drive on Slater Street. And Alden's dad had a beautiful 57 Mercury Turnpike Cruiser with the neat little vents that sit up on the top. Oh, what a car. The console looked like a scooter compared to that car. And then he had a Enfield bicycle, a British Enfield. And his dad was British. And the car was black with the gold inlay. And the Enfield bicycle had an enclosed chain. It was obviously a have kids kind of bicycle, right? And Alden was a bit of a spoiled brat. So Alden came, and my mom and dad went away for a day, and they trusted Alden and I to be there. And Alden brought 2 Coca-Cola. And then Alden shook them up like crazy and took the cap off, and then filled the whole stairway with pop from the ceiling to the floor. And you can't hide that, Ted. You can't hide that, right? So Alden went home, and my mother came home, and she looked at it, saw the pop, and said, "That was Alden." Yep, that's it. No, you can't be with friends with anyone. You're done. She never even bothered. That was it. That was taboo. That was the end of that, right?
So could you be friends at school, but...
No. That was the rules were, Alden was a bad influence. We trusted you. We trusted him, right? And that's what happened, so now it's over. There was no debate. You knew Mother had spoken.
Uh-huh.
Right, and that was the end of it. So that's how she controlled that kind of stuff.
Okay, just hold your thoughts.
We got technical difficulties again, Ted?